should I have
Welcome to Media Path. I am Louise Palanker.
And I'm Fritz Coleman.
And we are newly and fully vaccinated.
I've never met you. I'm in person, and I had no idea what you looked like.
I expected you to be shorter. We are newly and fully vaccinated and indoors, in studio, in person, and inspired to be so blessed. Our guest coming up is the brilliant and trailblazing comedian Elayne Boosler. According to her website, which you can find on the internet, Elayne started doing comedy in New York City in 1973 and has been on everything you have ever seen. So if you say to her, "Didn't I see you on?" the answer is yes. Yes, you did. But first, Fritz and I have curated for you some fine media selectables. What have you got for us today?
All right, first of all, I'm going to do a feature film on Amazon Prime. It's Without Remorse. This is a Tom Clancy story. And if you're a fan, it's the origin story of John Clark, who was one of the most popular characters in the Jack Ryan series. Stars Michael B. Jordan, playing an elite Navy SEAL who discovers an international conspiracy while seeking justice for his murdered pregnant wife. Directed by Stefano Sollima, who directed Sicario, Day of the Soldado. Sicario movies are great action movies, as is this one. Michael B. Jordan does all of his own stunts in this, and there are many hair-raising stunts. Great bad guys in this movie, or at least questionable guys, including Guy Pearce as Secretary Clay, a duplicitous politician, what a surprise, and Jamie Bell, who plays Robert Ritter, who's an operative you're never quite sure about. Jamie Bell got famous playing Billy Elliot. He's a wonderful British actor.
Oh, yes. He's not still a kid.
No, he's not.
These kids, you look away and they grow up and there they go.
And he's one of these guys who's miraculously able to bury that English accent. He plays a great...
Any pirouetting in the film at all?
No, he didn't do that.
It's a disappointment.
But I got to tell you, there's some badass women in this film, including Jodie Turner-Smith. You might know her from the Queen and Slim series. She broke barriers in this movie because she plays Michael B. Jordan's superior as a SEAL lieutenant commander. It's a great cast, fun ride. Nobody does military/government roller coaster rides like Tom Clancy. It's a great film. Good escapist.
All right. Excellent. Well, I've had a very busy week, Fritz. Do you know why?
No.
I've been reading Beautiful Things by Hunter Biden.
Oh, wow.
You think that movie was a ride? This is a ride. Okay, so this book is astoundingly raw and heartbreakingly candid. It's a soulful, harrowing, funny, and candid answer to the Republican battle cry query, "Where's Hunter?" Hunter has been in some disturbing locations. You should first know that Hunter Biden is a lawyer and an artist, a graduate of Georgetown University and Yale Law School. He has worked as an advocate on behalf of Jesuit universities and served on numerous corporate and nonprofit boards, including as vice chairman of Amtrak and chairman of the board of World Food Program USA. When he was 2 years old, Hunter Biden was badly injured in a car accident that killed his mother and his baby sister. In 2015, he suffered the devastating loss of his beloved big brother, Beau, who died of brain cancer at the age of 46. These hardships were compounded by the collapse of his marriage and a years-long battle with drug and alcohol addiction. Rudderless, without Beau, Hunter recounts his descent into the dark and seedy recesses of substance abuse and his torturous path back to sobriety. It's interesting to note that while Republicans were accusing him of embezzling money from corrupt Ukrainians, he was actually blowing money on crack-fueled odysseys into oblivion. I blame Rudy for the intel fail. This book is a critical look at the grip of addiction and how it will often claim the brightest and most sensitive among us. The reviews on Amazon are worth a look, too. So they're either 5 stars, like completely 5 stars, from the verified purchasers, or 1 star from people who have not bought or read the book. And they write things like, "If you're low on toilet paper, this is a great book." Or, "If you want to become a drug addict or adulterer, it does have some helpful tips."
Yeah.
It's a split decision on Hunter.
I mean, without Hunter Biden, the Republicans would have nothing to whine about. Tucker Carlson wouldn't have a show. That's all they do is whine about him.
Yeah.
He's like this straw man who is really insignificant in the overall scheme.
Well, he's just the modern version of Hillary's emails. And it just didn't, right? And it didn't pan out the way they had hoped it would.
No, I agree. Good selection. So I want to talk about Vice Investigations. This is on Hulu. It started on HBO, and I think they second streamed them on Hulu. I like good investigative journalism, and I look at Vice as 60 Minutes with an Edge, or Next Generation 60 Minutes. A good sample episode, if you've never seen it, is Season 1, Episode 8, which is up right now. It's called Gun Culture 2.0.
Ouch.
Gun Culture 1.0 talked about hunting and the rural idea of owning firearms. Gun Culture 2.0 moves to suburban and urban gun owners, and they concentrate on the right to concealed carry. Vice doesn't take sides. Correspondent Josh Hurst is really just on a fact-finding mission, but if you're a fan of more gun control, this is eye-opening and it's disturbing, because here's the irony. In the United States, statistics say that more people are in favor of reasonable gun legislation right now, but in many states, laws are becoming more and more lenient. 40 years ago, it was almost impossible for you to see somebody carrying a gun down the street in public. Now, the opposite is happening. As a matter of fact, in Oklahoma, they just passed a permitless carry law, meaning you don't even need a permit to carry a gun. People walk around carrying a rifle at the Walmart. Vice covers a wide range of subjects in their current season, from Russia's war on hip-hop music to the raging fires in the Amazon jungle. It's well-produced. It's edgy journalism. I love it.
Awesome. I will check that out. So have you heard of Atlantic Crossing, Fritzy?
No.
Atlantic Crossing, not to be confused with Animal Crossing, which is a game on the Nintendo Switch. Atlantic Crossing has far fewer talking cows. Just so you don't make a purchase error. Okay, so this is a true story. Oh, it's actually inspired by a true story of a friendship forged in wartime. Atlantic Crossing is on PBS. It explores politics and ambition as Norway's crown princess Martha flees to America for safety as her country is invaded by the Nazis. She is taken under wing by FDR, who develops a bit of a crush on the adorable Nordic princess. A restrained and shy Princess Martha quickly finds herself evolving into a powerful advocate for her country and grappling with the moral dilemma presented when she recognizes that she could leverage FDR's feelings in a desperate effort to protect her homeland. Kyle MacLachlan stars as FDR, Sophia Helen as Princess Martha, and Tobias Santelman as Prince Olav. And they speak a lot of Norwegian in there.
Is this a multi-part series?
Yeah, it's one of those PBS multi-part.
Is it
Masterpiece Theater?
I haven't even heard of it.
It's brand new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's just they're releasing, it's like a Masterpiece Theater thing, I think, and they're releasing one per week. And it's really good.
Wow.
If you're a history fan, as am I.
Anything with Brits and PBS is always quality work.
You can't fail. So we're going to introduce our guest. We're so excited about Elayne Boosler. She asked to be introduced as one of the greatest comedians. And don't read her whole bio, because it does go on and on. She's been at this. She's good. She's just a superstar. She's a trailblazer, as I said earlier. She's that female comedian that everyone has heard of. And everyone saw open for America, at some point in the 70s. Am I right about that, Elayne? Everyone saw you open for some big rock band, right?
Some big music act, but I didn't say greatest. I said most popular.
Oh.
One of the most popular.
Well, I think I just happened to put in some of my own interpretation, which is that you are the greatest. I'm going to say a little bit about you. Comedian, writer.
I'll be back.
All right. So yeah, comedian, writer, animal activist. Elayne Boosler was named one of Comedy Central's greatest 100 stand-up comedians of all time, dubbed by Rolling Stone magazine the first lady of stand-up comedy, and named one of their 50 best stand-up comics of all time. And here she is among us. And you two go back how far, Fritz and Elayne?
She had already achieved a little success when I was fighting my way up out of, open mics into getting paid spots at the Comedy Store. But she was legendary in the glass ceilings, several that she broke for lady comics. And I'm so interested to hear her talk about this. There was so much sexism in early stand-up because nobody thought women had the ability to do stand-up as well as men, particularly the owners of some of these local clubs. And she had to fight tooth and nail and worked her way up. So, Elayne, talk about those early days. I'm going to say early to mid 70s to early 80s, until there was more parity in the stand-up world, and how hard it was, and what the ladder was like. You weren't getting any spots, then you got belly room spots, and then I think I think if this legend is true, you were the one that was one of the first to get a spot in the main room at the store. Am I right about that?
Well, first of all, we have to take care of business because we're coming out of the pandemic. And first things first, if we're on Zoom, there are two things that are necessary.
Oh, yay. Ooh.
Very nice.
So, to answer your question, it has to be books and flowers, right? That's Zoom. Books, flowers. That's my background. Here we go. But I'm holding them. I'm going to get tired.
You just got owned, Claire McCaskill.
No, everyone is books and flowers. Everyone. And I haven't been doing any Zoom at all. I finally did one last week, and I did it from my husband's office in the house. And people said, "Are you kidnapped? Are you in a bunker?" It was so bare and so bare bones. I felt terrible. So I'm in my dining room.
It's very warm. It's cozy. Okay, tell us what you've seen. Yes.
I watched episode 1 of Atlantic Crossing last night.
Isn't it great?
It was wonderful. And the lead actress who plays the Queen of Denmark there, Norway, she's in one of my favorite series of all time that people should stream, which is called The Bridge. It's actually called Broen, Broen, with the 2 dots. It's such a brilliant show. She is brilliant in it. And they remade it in England and called it The Tunnel.
What?
And they really, because the Norway one, a murder takes place right on the border, on a bridge. Norway and I failed I failed school. So is it Norway and Sweden? Anyway, right on the line. So they have to work together. The bridge is France and England, and they have to work together.
Okay.
I mean, the tunnel. So it brilliant shows, and she's great. She's really awesome. My other favorite, anybody seen Derry Girls?
No.
Okay, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. The funniest show you will ever see. Derry Girls. It's from Ireland. It's great. And Rake, Australian, is great. I read television. I don't watch it. All I do is read subtitles.
I love
That's
that.
my favorite stuff.
Do you get the Acorn?
I don't think we have Acorn.
Oh, you're going to love
We're
Acorn.
only up to like $6,000 a month in streaming services.
No,
So
I understand.
What's Acorn?
Acorn is British and Australian.
I
And
get BritBox. We have BritBox.
oh, you have, so you probably
All
okay.
British.
And on
Yeah.
Acorn, there's a lot of murders that have to be solved. A lot of murders.
Well,
Every small town.
I'm zombie and murder girl.
Okay.
I am into dystopia. That is my life.
Yes, I
Dystopian
read
future.
your blog post, and could you kind of elucidate for us one of your issues with dystopian?
know.
Okay.
Okay, so it started with me with, and you'll like this, Fritz, because the weather changed constantly when we were watching Lost. It was always the black cloud coming in. And by the way, I am boycotting LA weather because you're not our guy anymore. I miss you so much every night.
LA weather has been canceled.
What a nice
LA
thing to
weather has
say.
been canceled. We all miss you so much.
God
That's
bless
why I said I do this. I never do many podcasts, but I missed you. I needed to
Well,
see you.
I appreciate that. People have finally realized they could have just looked on their phone the whole time.
What?
And I didn't have to be there.
Wait a minute. I have a better one. Looked on their phone. Have you looked out the window?
No, seriously.
But,
Argus
this is
Hamilton
my-
said, when I got this job, Argus Hamilton said, yes, his title is Vice President of Looking Out the Window.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Just wet a finger.
No weather person has ever said the one thing we want to hear, which is take a sweater. Take a sweater.
Yeah.
You never know. Take a sweater. Things change. That's all we want to hear.
That's so
No one
funny.
ever said it.
Be prepared. I think the Boy Scouts sort of teach you that.
That's be prepared.
Yeah.
You know what they really mean is if it was a Jewish Boy Scout organization, they would say take a sweater. But they're not Jewish, so they say be prepared, which Jews don't mean take a sweater.
Yeah. But I mean, a sweater can be used as a tourniquet in a pinch.
You know, I loved Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I always take a towel. You
Okay.
just, wherever you go, you need a towel.
You're
A
gonna
towel.
need-
You could do a heart transplant if you
It's
have a towel.
utilitarian.
You need a towel. That's
Okay,
it.
so your blog post about dystopian
Okay, it started with Lost.
fiction. Yeah, okay.
I'm looking at these people on Lost, and kudos, no makeup. They're on an island. They look really natural. And then the women, every time they raise their arm, who's that? People always walk out on me. I
That's
can't
our
believe
engineer.
That's just
No problem.
Thomas. He's going to be around. Get used to
walking
him.
out while I'm on. I feel like we're back to
No,
normal.
he's adjusting. He's adjusting your shot, and he's very handsome.
He's very handsome, and he left. I feel like I'm back.
No,
playing
he's
Texas.
just behind the camera. Here he comes again. Get ready.
There you go.
There
Hey,
he is. Yeah, it's just Thomas. Okay, so you're watching. You're
I'm watching Lost. and
Lost.
I buy into it. And then the women are in sleeveless shirts and they raise their arms and they just become completely clean shaven on an island with no razors. No, and I figure, what did they find a good clamshell? I mean, how do they have no hair on their bodies? And I'm sorry, do you have a dog in the studio?
No.
Because I don't have dogs.
We
so I don't
know you too well.
But now I'm watching all the zombies and the zombie apocalypse, and all the women have shaved pits. It's ridiculous. It completely snaps me out of the reality of the show. I go anywhere with you. Yes, the zombies happened. Yes, they need to eat you to stay alive. Yes, the world ended on Casual Friday. That's why they're all wearing jeans. I buy all of it, and they're full of dirt and matted, and they haven't washed their hair, and I go, they really are into this. They did it great. And then their pits, the women are clean shaven, and I go, I'm not buying it, and I change the channel. Guys, if you really want us to buy in, and you know why? This is why we need more women producers and women behind the camera. Not for equality, just for reality. Women would know, sorry, you can't shave for this show.
No, smooth
The
pits would not
reality
be a
of
priority in a
zombie
zombie.
apocalypse.
No, they would. And I have another issue along those lines, Elayne, and that is that ladies on TV wear their bra to bed. Does anyone
They
else
wear their bra for sex when they're not getting paid enough for the nude scene. They all have their bras on during sex. I find it stunning. Stunning.
But they go to bed and they've got their night clothes on and their boobs are just so awake. And
Well, it's not bras. There are actually wranglers, breast wranglers who are under them in the bed, and they hold them up because it's a job here. I don't know if you know, it's a union job.
well, it's much coveted from what I understand.
It's very hard. It's actually, people are grandfathered in.
They are. But they all swear that they're gay. That's what they have to sign a letter.
Right. I'm gay. I'm not into
Not
this.
even that into this. Okay.
Here's my other complaint.
Okay.
You know, everyone now in every show brushes their teeth. Who ever saw Clark Gable or Marilyn Monroe brush their teeth in a movie or TV? And that is why the whole thing of stardom in Hollywood, that whole sheen is gone, you know? They were bigger than life. They didn't, and plus everyone's urinating on screen now. So they're on the toilet, they're brushing their teeth. If I wanted to see that, I could just, turn to my left at home. It's ridiculous. There's no more stars and how come nobody looks at the road when they're driving anymore?
No.
They deliver Shakespearean soliloquies to the person next to, and we're all in the house screaming, "Look at the road!"
Wow, you really, I think these are important issues.
I need to leave the house, don't I? I need to leave the
I
house.
think we're all kind of sneaking out. Can you tell us how the pandemic has treated you and what sort of epiphanies that you've had a chance to germinate while you spending time with self?
Well, there's a real thing going on now, and I'm so glad I read about it because I was suffering it and I thought it was just me. And it's that I can't leave the house now.
Uh-oh.
I haven't eaten in a restaurant.
Okay.
I don't go anywhere. I go to the grocery store and I take the dogs to the vet. That's it. I've turned down every invitation with friends. I'm too freaked out. I can't. I feel like, wait a minute, I stayed in for a year and 2 months. If I go out now and get sick, it will be just the universe saying, drop dead. I can't leave the house. And I've been reading that it's actually a thing. We have like PTSD. That's why I didn't come over. I mean,
Have you done any online performances, Zoom comedy?
Nope.
Well,
Nope.
good. You're better off. To me, it's such a gut-wrenching experience.
Is it? Oh no, are you suffering right now?
Yes, it's.
I mean, with me here?
No, I get invited to to speak after a fundraiser or whatever it is,
Right.
And people don't mute, and there are dogs barking, and Consuela comes in and asks if she can go home now, and people talk. They have no. To me, the online performance is like a surgery without anesthesia. It's just the worst. So
I'm really sorry my dogs barked. I apologize.
No.
I always think it adds depth.
I do too. I like seeing where people live. I like imagining what's beyond the frame of the
But
camera.
it's always books and flowers. People live in between books and flowers.
There's a guy on MSNBC named Andrew Weissman who was one of the Mueller Report geniuses, and he is in a different room for every Zoom appearance.
Oh, that's so cool.
And we are
That's
obsessed.
great.
My sister and I take screen caps of it and text them to each other.
How great.
And he lives in like one of those Manhattan sky rises. Well, is that a word? He lives in one of
that's a good word.
where he's like blown out 3 or 4 floors, Elayne, and it's just what is going on, and all of his electronics and his furniture, and it's just so much fabulousness. So yeah, once we see people in a studio again, we may be like, ho hum, back to my Tetris, you know?
No. I've been to several Zoom funerals, and that was kind of sad that it had to be like that. But I didn't do any performances, and I really don't do podcasts because there are, I love you. So I said yes, and here we are. And I wanted to see if I remembered how to put on makeup, and apparently I've remembered how to put on too much makeup.
No, you look really beautiful.
You look great.
Have you been to
That's fine. Whatever.
Saturday? I went to a Zoom Mitzvah.
A Zoom Mitzvah?
Yeah,
That's great.
Well, it's on the East Coast, so you have to get up very early. But it's like if you had the best seat, because the camera is right in front of they don't call it a podium in Judaism. It's more like a dais, or it's
probably a wailing wall.
Right. But if you've been to a wedding or anything via Zoom in the past 14 months, it really is like I'm very close. You start to get nervous. But so it's nice to be able to see things that way and to, mute yourself and burp.
I think we're lucky we had it, though, even though I didn't do anything myself. I mean, it gave people an outlet, and, people were getting a little crazy, kind of shut down by themselves, and they got to see comedians online and, beautiful concerts and stuff. So it probably was a lifesaver for a lot of people just to be able to share stuff. And they do, there's always a rolling side scroll. So you do get to comment and talk back and forth, and that's a nice thing. I mean, I think it's good we had it, even though,
Absolutely. You do wonder how people got through the 1918 pandemic.
Well, it's not like they were missing television or their computers. They didn't have it yet.
No, none of their texts went through.
No, that's right. Yeah,
it was really
no
scary.
sound checks.
No.
Well, the truth is they didn't get through the 1918 pandemic. There's your answer.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't that wipe out like half the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put you in history because these things are really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
You were, as I said before, this groundbreaker.
You can tell I'm
with the
avoiding
comedy
your
store.
question, right?
Yeah, you were. But that's okay.
He's
because
persistent.
You're humble.
I'm not a whiner, I take the high road for
I'm not
everything.
asking you to whine. I'm just asking you to tell the truth about how hard it was for female comics to get the recognition they deserved, and that fight that you had to get stage time in the main room with all the, with Robin and Jay and all these other people whose talent you were equal to, but weren't perceived that way by the owners of the clubs. It was.
Okay, so now I feel terrible because I have to contradict your facts a little bit.
Okay,
and I apologize,
Go ahead.
But you're making me talk. So, first of all, the world, in let's see, choice, legal abortion only passed in 1972? And I believe it was 1972 when I started comedy in 72, 73. So you can imagine the position women were in those days. They were chattel, basically. And even in the late 60s, women couldn't get their own credit card. They needed a man or husbands or fathers to co-sign.
Mm-hmm.
I came up literally when there was no freedom for women. And the female comedians there were, Joan Rivers, Toady Fields, Phyllis Diller, brilliant, fantastic, wonderful women, but the exact, type that people would accept, housewives who were, complaining, and they were brilliant. I'm not taking anything away. And I'm not saying, I get angry when people say, well, they were so self-deprecating. And I say, excuse me, those were the times. Look at the men. Look at Rodney Dangerfield and,
Exactly.
Jackie Vernon and all those guys were self-deprecating. That was the time. Rodney was the same as Phyllis. So don't put it on the women. It was the times we lived in. Comedy was the hangdog husband, the hangdog wife complaining about their situation.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first young, trying to be pretty, dressed up for a date, trying to be sexy, 20 years old, attractive comic.
Observational
who was smart.
comic.
What?
And observational.
Yes, observational, and also doing the news, doing, looking at life, just the way the young men of the time were.
Who were your classmates in 73 in New York when you started? So
my classmates, I was in New York. My graduating class was Richard Lewis, Richard Belzer, a genius named Ed Bluestone. Jay Leno used to drive down from Boston and deliver cars. We all had day jobs because it paid nothing. You were nobody or the biggest star in the world. You were doing this free hobby, or you were headlining in Vegas or had a TV show. So Leno came down and he would go on and then go back and deliver cars. Richard Lewis worked in advertising. Ed Bluestone's parents supported him. Andy Kaufman lived with me. I was the hostess in the club, so I made a living. Andy lived with me. That was our money. Who am I leaving out?
What club was that? Was that the Improv?
Sorry?
Was that the Improv?
That was the New York Improv. Mm-hmm. And, people think, oh, this big place. No, it was a little toilet in the wall in Hell's Kitchen. Nobody came there. And I was terrified it was going to shut down because in the winter, there were like 3 Japanese tourists and that was the whole audience. And I had already been fired from every single waitress job in New York City. This was my last chance before I had to move on to the D's. In other words, I got fired from all the A jobs, B's, I hit C, wow. I'm going to get fired and keep going down the alphabet. So what saved the Improv, about a year in, Rick Newman opened Catch a Rising Star on the East Side. And it was Bud says it was the best thing that ever happened to the Improv because Rick did so much advertising about a comedy club, which the Improv wasn't necessarily. It was jazz, singers, comedy, whatever. It was very experimental. And because of Catch a Rising Star, the Improv got an audience. So that's how that, grew. Andy Kaufman, Gabe Kaplan already had his TV show. Jimmy Walker had his TV show. Am I leaving anyone out? Belzer, I said Richard Belzer. And that was the New York crew. And
so you came out here.
And I was, sorry?
So you came out here to Los Angeles.
So I started, I was singing there because they always put the waitresses on in between the comics to give the audience a chance to talk. And, we were kind of the grout between the tiles. And, but I got good fast because I was the hostess and Bud could rely on me to come in early and, stay 8 hours a night. So he started coming in later and later. And in those days, there was no MC or no schedule. If you showed up, you went on. Well, on a snowy Tuesday night in New York City, nobody came to go on. It was me. So I would go on for hours and just talk to the audience. And within a year, I had enough material to play to do anything. But I still wanted to be a singer. And it was the guys in the club. Oh, and Freddie Prinze was also the big star of our graduating class. When he did The Tonight Show, we gathered around the bar and watched. And in a minute, he had a TV show and became the biggest star in the world. It was so beautiful. Anyway, everything kind of moved out to LA. And so I came out with it, but I had such a nice name from New York that I immediately headlined everywhere in LA. I never had a fight for the Comedy Store. I never played the belly room once. I thought it was an insult. I headlined the main room for day one. So that was great. But the fight, you have to understand those clubs were really like a good family, not the bad one we all came from, but the good family. So those guys loved me and I loved them. And I was like sister and brother with all of those guys and their families. I had no prejudice in the clubs. The prejudice was to go out to the real world and work. And Rodney Dangerfield, who literally mentored Ed Bluestone and myself, for 2 years, we hung out in the basement of Dangerfield's and he gave us steaks to eat every night for dinner because we were so broken. We were getting so sick on those steaks, like grease coated your throat for your life. And Ed said, he loves you. Ask him for $10 so we can go to Chinatown. I said, okay. Rodney, could we have $10 to go to Chinatown? Absolutely not. Why not? Hey, these steaks cost me nothing. If I give you $10, that's $10. So wow. He was the best. Want to hear a great Dangerfield story?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got hired to write on his first TV show out here. Here's who the writers were. Get ready for this. This is how early it was. Me, Harold Ramis, and Stanley Myron Handelman.
Wow.
3 stars in their own. We wrote the Rodney Dangerfield first special, which won all the Emmys, called It Ain't Easy Being Me. So we wrote together for 12 weeks. And on the 13th week, Rodney came out from New York to, tweak everything and blah, blah, blah. So they rent him a house in Malibu. Now, I'm brand new. I don't have a penny to my name. They drive us out to Malibu to, meet with him. We had been friends, so that's cool. But I'd never seen Malibu. We walk into this house. It was millions, total glass. All glass. There's the ocean. It's coming right up to the glass. There's Rodney sitting on a couch facing it with his bathrobe hanging open, with his belly resting on the coffee table, and he's eating a bowl of cereal and the milk splashing all over his belly on the coffee table. And I walk in and see this magnificent beach and then this juxtaposition of Rodney sitting there like that. And I say, oh my goodness, Rodney, this house must be costing you a fortune. And without looking up, eating the cereal, he says, you kidding? 18 cents a wave.
Wow. So did you see I'm Dying Up Here, the Showtime series?
I did. I don't like to badmouth people's projects.
I don't want you to badmouth it. I just want to know how close. I can't remember the actress's name, but the woman that had the arc that was the blonde girl that was alleged to have represented your history at the Comedy Store, which was this fight to be able to get stage time equal to the men. That's why I brought it up.
Well, that never happened to me. Because, like I said, in New York, they just desperately needed me because the guys wouldn't show up half the time because there was no fixed schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So bad weather, Tuesday night, midnight, there's people in the club, there's no comics. I was thrown up. Admittedly, when all the comics were there, I did have to fight. But I understand that. They should be on before me, those guys. They were much more oiled and ready and blah, blah, blah. You always have to fight. Guys had to fight too to get their stage time. But, I was very lucky in the sense that when I came out here, I was already established as, a good comic. So I got put on immediately. The Belly Room, I thought was... Here's my thing, okay? I never called myself a female comic, just like Bill Cosby never called himself a black comic. The point is you want to play to everybody. And when you define yourself, the more labels you put on yourself, the fewer people come out to see you. They started doing Newsweek articles about the female comics and Time magazine articles, the female comics. I refused to participate. Jay Leno gave my interview to Time and Richard Lewis gave my interview to Newsweek. I refused to pigeonhole myself because I knew how the work would go. And the work was like this. Microsoft needs a comic for their convention, or Apple, or, Chase Bank. So who do they think of? They go, okay, who can we afford and who can we get? Okay, Jen Leno, he's busy. Jerry Seinfeld, we can't afford. Who's next? Elayne Boosler. Oh yeah, she's great and we can afford her. They never said, oh, but it's a woman and she's not going to play to our people. My fans have always been 50-50 because if I said anything about men, I then did the women's side of it. Men do this, but women do this. I wanted to entertain everybody. And so I refused to be pigeonholed. I love women comics. And if you want to define yourself like that, that's great. It's fine, whoever you want to be. But I really thought if they put me in that corner, I'd never get out of that corner, and that's why I just didn't. There's a show on now. It's all about how hard it is to be a female comic. And it's all these women kind of complaining. And my take on it is, well, go dig ditches or live in Syria and try and get firewood for your kids' boiled water for dinner without getting raped in the jungle. You pick the hardest business and the easiest thing if you make it. No one told you to do this.
You're still going to have to shave your pits.
You still have to shave your pits, especially if the zombies are coming.
So you weren't part of that you had already achieved a certain amount of success when that sorority, I use the term sorority just as a way to define this large group of women who came through the same experience at the same time. Diane Nichols and Lotus Weinstock.
Well, Diane was with me, and but I think she's one of the funniest people I've ever known. And I saw her at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach right before the pandemic. Totally new act. I was on the floor. I just said, I hate you. I want that act. She's so brilliant. Look, there were other women along with me. The reason me and not them, they did fall by the wayside. It was very hard. And you really had to be more tough than you wanted to be. And you had to decide that you would burn it down. You had to be willing to risk everything. And yes, the sexism was disgusting once I started to get into the real world and try and work. But remember this, as few female comedians as there were, basically me, there were that few female doctors, female lawyers, females in politics, women in Congress, women in hardware stores, all the things we get to do now. The whole world was still closed to us. So it wasn't just comedy, directing, producing, writing. There weren't women outside of the home, basically, in the world. So I was just on the wave of women waking up and seeing what was possible.
Yeah, it was basically nurse, teacher, mom.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
There's a book that I want to recommend called Girls Like Us, and it's about Carly Simon, Carole King, and Joni Mitchell.
Oh, how great.
And those were the women that sort of women our age watched and went, oh, you don't have to get married. I mean, you can, sure, but those were kind of like the women that in a high profile way did something different.
Well, my two superheroes were Janis Joplin and Laura Nyro.
Wow.
That was my Brooklyn crushes who I loved and wanted to be and still want to be. And the women you named, absolutely. You could throw Judy Collins in there and Grace Slick. And,
Sure. And it was hard for them too.
Yeah, it was. Listen, I got slapped in the face a billion times. You never hear me complain about it. You got to get around it. My motto, never complain, never explain. And this was so funny. I guess the show about the women lamenting how hard stand-up is for women was on last week. And a guy on Twitter writes to me on Twitter and he says, wow, Elayne, I never knew how hard it was to be a female comic. And I answered, neither did I.
All right, so I have a question for you, Elayne.
Sure.
And this is something that I think you're quite proud of. You are a frequent crossword puzzle answer. Who are your favorite fellow celebrity puzzle answers?
Well, I can tell you who's in the crossword every single day. You have the band ELO, because that word is just so usable. So they're in it constantly. The British gun Sten, S-T-E-N, will be in the crossword every day. I think they use me because Elayne has a Y in it, and that they get to trip people up because they're putting the I down, not knowing, and then they can't get the down and the across. And they celebrated the anniversary of the New York Times crossword, so they asked celebrities to team up with constructors and do the crosswords, each one a month for a year. They had Bill Clinton and, really fun people, and I got to write a crossword.
Wow.
And so it was really a fun and funny one. And now I'm constructing them, and it's a lot of fun. But it's always fun to be in it. But people say, oh my God, you're in the crossword, you made it. And I say, no. It's just 46 down, funny Boosler. I say, I'll know I've made it when 46 down says, hey, C18 across. Then you're somebody.
That's awesome.
But if you want to hear about, I know you're interested in also that, how hard it was. Here's a good one. So I'm in the air doing 1 million dates. I didn't even live anywhere for the first 10 years. I was on the road 52 weeks a year, no exaggeration. I just had my suitcase. That was it. So they're doing hoops. Comic relief. We were doing comic relief in the 80s, and they take the Superdome in New Orleans, and that game, the money's going to comic relief. Okay. So some good known comedian has to pick up the check at the game, and it's televised and it's a big deal. Well, the weather, you'll like this, Fritz. The weather was, you couldn't fly anywhere. It was a disaster. And it was supposed to be Paul Rodriguez, and he couldn't get to the Superdome in New Orleans. So Chris Albrecht from HBO tracked me down on the road. He said, you're closer, right? Can you get to the Superdome? And I said, I'll do it. And I found like 3 different planes, and I get to the Superdome, and I get there and they go, hey, we got Elayne Boosler. It's going to work out. They turn to me in New Orleans and they go, we ain't giving you the check. No women in the booth.
What?
And I said, hey, let me in. I'm not that feminine. Wow. And they said, no women in the booth.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. And I said, listen, man, this is about helping the homeless. Forget that stuff. This is about helping the homeless. HBO put a lot of money into this for you. Don't do this. And they said, you ain't coming in the booth. No women in the booth. Well, guess who was there broadcasting right next to it and heard this? Ron Swoboda, one of the greatest baseball players and one of the most famous moments in baseball. And he moved me out of the way and said, do you know who you people are talking to? Do you know who for every bad moment, there was a champion who got it. Mm. And that's what you had to go with. Mm-hmm. You had to go with the positive and forget all that stuff. But that happened 1 billion times. And you just go, what? That's the way it was. And
Along
probably
those
still
same
is.
lines, it was impossible at a time for network executives, cable executives, to be convinced that a female could do a special. So that was frustrating,
business.
and you had to finance your own at first, correct?
You know what it sounds like? Oh, she took her American Express and did a special. No, I was young. I was in an apartment that was $265 a month, which means, there was no money. And for years, cable started up and all the guys got specials. And I was touring then. I was doing a 2.5-hour show in those days. And all those guys who had specials, I'd follow them into the clubs, and the club owners would say to me, oh, thank God we're going to make our money back this week. I had been selling out for years, selling out the clubs, 3 shows a night, 2.5-hour show, the greatest reviews you could ever see. I still have them up on, my website just to show what the history was. And HBO and Showtime said, no. No one wants to see a woman do an hour. And I said, in every city in this country, people pay a lot of money to see me do 2.5 hours every night. You're wrong. They wouldn't put me on. Long story short, I met a guy. He said, I can help you do this, but you'll have to learn how to produce because we can't hire a lot of people. How much money do you have? I said, 0. He said, okay. He was a very well-established New York filmmaker. We started to live together. He said, he wasn't known. He just, had chops. And he got all his friends in New York to shoot us for nothing, to do the scenery, to do the sound, because we promised them when we sold it, they would get paid full fee. And they said, Elayne Boosler, and I was really known in New York because that was my, impetus. They said, Elayne Boosler, oh, you'll sell it. Yeah, we'll take our full fee in a couple of months. So was Party of One, which ran for 15 years everywhere and bought me 2 houses.
Wow.
But
Wow.
yeah, Party of One. And my boyfriend said to me, look, you have to get celebrities to, we're going to do an opening piece. People hadn't done opening pieces yet. He said, we'll do an opening piece because they clearly don't want you. But if you give them people they can't get on cable yet, they'll have to buy the show. So that was the week Bill Cosby's show became #1 and brought NBC back from the brink of nothingness. He was on the cover of Time that week. I asked him because I knew he knew my work. And he said, yes. Letterman had just become #1. He had never stepped outside his show. He said, yes. It was Dr. Ruth's first big year, Westheimer. She said, yes. Tom Waits, my old friend, gave me his music. It was one of the most beautiful shows ever done. And 12 years of honing these jokes. Each one was a diamond on velvet in a store. I finished the show. We get it edited. I take it up to HBO and Showtime. They say, no. No one wants to see a woman do an hour. I said, you're turning down these stars?
I don't understand that thinking. I mean, where did that come from?
So I have some theories about it. And
old school guys who hated their Jewish mothers, guys who couldn't get laid without paying for it, guys who hated women.
Yeah,
they were a horrible group of people.
So I think my theory, Elayne, is that men who are comfortable and confident are ready, happy, and willing to appreciate a funny female. Men who are
any female
who's
following her dream.
Exactly.
A doctor, a lawyer. I mean, one of the greatest books I've read recently was the Ruth Bader Ginsburg biography. It's thicker than the encyclopedia and so worth reading. And her husband, oh my goodness, he's the guy every woman wants. Did everything to support her.
Because her life.
And he had his own career, but he just got her brilliance. And that's what you want, someone who sees you and you see them. That's
but it's not
simple. Just
that it's threatening to insecure men. It's also a male comedian explained this to me from my days as a very poor open micer. But
very curious. What did he say?
He said that women are always telling you what they're thinking and feeling anyway. And what's unique about men doing stand-up comedy is that you finally get to hear what men are thinking and feeling. And we all have to listen to women all day. Why would I want to sit in an audience and watch one do that on stage?
Man, I call bullshit.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with power. I think the whole thing is power.
Okay.
And I know you've seen it, Elayne, as a female comic, that the the little microcosm that goes on in an audience, especially if it's a couple and the man is not a fan of yours yet, how hard you often have to work for him to give it up and to acquiesce and say, this woman is funny, and to relax and laugh. The woman's laughing a long time. There's a certain power. The woman with a microphone on stage has power, and men, even if it's subconsciously, are not willing to give up the power position to a woman who has the power with the jokes and the personality on stage. It's about
and
power.
Yet, you know what's funny?
I agree.
We all grew up with female grade school teachers.
Sure.
Yeah.
We looked at them all day long.
Controlling 45 wild lunatics every day for 8 years.
And then the other dynamic that, Elayne, you can tell me whether or not you agree with this one, is like, let's say there's a couple there. The man is going to picture himself having sex with you because that's just what men do when they look at a woman for longer than a few seconds.
Well, I
and
hope
so if he's with a date and he laughs at you, then she wants to know later in the car, did you think she was pretty? Did you find her attractive? So it's all these layers that we have to.
Okay, you people are overthinking all of this.
Am
Honestly,
I?
here's
Okay.
what I say, okay?
Yeah.
Anyone walks on the stage, a man, a woman, a gorilla, a parrot, anybody. You have 30 seconds to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
If you're funny, you're off and running. All that stuff's out the window. If you're not funny, it doesn't matter who you were. If you're funny, no one's going to say, wow, she was so funny. Too bad it was a woman. And if you're not funny, they're not going to say, man, he wasn't funny, but at least it was a guy. I sum it up like this.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever can carry you out of the burning building gets to be the fireman. And that's it.
That's
you know,
so
they didn't want
perfect.
women fire people. Hey, buddy, you're going to burn up in there. I don't want a woman carrying me down that ladder. Okay, I'll tell your family you said goodbye. You have a job to do. Do your fucking job. And that's the end of it. And cut all this crap is just getting in your way. It's bullshit. Do your job, be funny. Nothing. You're doing the audience's job for them. Don't think of what people think of me is none of my business.
It's
I don't
interesting.
care what you think of me.
It's interesting.
I'm doing my job. I want you to feel better than when you came in. That's the end of the story. Everything else, that's it.
Because what you're saying, Elayne, is it cuts to a very primal nature that the instinct to laugh. There's no explaining it. You're just either going to laugh or you're not. It's completely primal. It comes out of you.
You have no choice.
Yes.
If you're funny, I'm telling you, my audience has literally always been 50-50, always. And, you know, it's funny. Someone came to do an article on me years ago, and this is very interesting. She watched the show, is down again in the club we love. It's Hermosa Beach Comedy and Magic Club. We love that place. And so afterwards, she comes backstage and she says this. She said, and she had seen the whole show. So she saw 3 male comedians and then me headlining, right? Mm-hmm. And she says this to me. She says, well, I watched the whole show and I noticed that the women were laughing a little harder at you than the men were. And I said, oh, did the men laugh harder at the men than the women were? And she said, oh, I don't know. I didn't look for that. I said, yeah, so fuck you.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty much it. Everyone's looking for trouble. I do my job. I don't care what you're thinking, what you're expecting. I have a mission statement, and this is what I live for. And I'm doing this 48 years. And my mission statement is, I want you to leave feeling better than when you came in. I think the world is so hard for everyone. If you took the time, I know people came home from work Friday and said, oh, no, we have tickets for this. I'm too tired. I don't want to go. But we paid, take the shower, get dressed, find a parking space. They come in, you can heckle me, I'll play with you. I want people to be so happy they came. And I just want that thing afterwards, them going, oh, thank you, because they feel good. It's a hard world out there. And I just want them to leave happy. I'm not there for anything but that. And I think people like certain comedians who came out of a bad childhood, every time I have a show where people come up and they're crying, they laugh so hard, I'm healing myself every time again.
Aww.
You know, I fixed it again. Hey, that's why I do animal rescue. Every terrified little creature who's helpless and is afraid someone's going to come down and squash him. Every time I save another one, I just fixed my childhood again.
Oh,
you
I
know,
love that.
I mean, that's
You have
what
the
we
healthiest
do.
outlook about that whole thing that I've ever heard. But I will
what?
say
I'm
this.
sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
You have the healthiest outlook
Oh,
about the whole performance dynamic that I've ever heard. But I will also say this, and you'll agree with this.
Hey, they're leaving again.
No, he's just working on the
That's all right.
camera.
He's going out to get his snacks. and I've seen this not with you, but with other females. I've talked to Diane Nichols about this. There is, and maybe the world is changing now, but I have seen comedians of moderate skill, male comedians, go up on the stage, and then a female comedian comes up, and the energy level just goes down 1 or 2 notches, as if to say the female comic has just a couple of beats of proof they have to go through before they have earned the respect of the audience. It's not, sometimes it's not perceptible, but I've seen it happen where a little energy goes down, and then they go forward, and it's hard work. So women have to be prepared to bring it. I've seen women have to work, harder than men.
Well, maybe so.
And you get heckled.
My philosophy is, and it's true. How do you make it? You have to be so good. that you are undeniable.
That's what Steve Martin said. You have to be so good that they can't ignore you.
Son of a gun. He's such a thief. No, I'm kidding.
and confident, because it just takes a certain amount of knowledge that you know what you're doing. I'm in charge. I have the microphone. I'm the funny one. That's why I'm up here. And I'm going to go ahead and do my act. And
I'm not saying there isn't a total prejudice. I totally agree with you. I'm saying I refuse to acknowledge it or dwell on it, or I would have been stopped.
No, that would have kept you from going on stage. Exactly.
Like Maria Bamford, her level of genius, or Eliza Schlesinger, her level of genius, she should be in the Dave Chappelle, Jerry Seinfeld sphere. They should be getting $100 million from Netflix. They should be on Learjets and selling out stadiums. That's how unbelievably brilliant they are. There are so many mediocre male comics now bringing home millions, and so many undeniably brilliant female comics now in the middle tier, and it is, completely unfair. But what can you do about it? You don't talk about it. You get out there and you just keep pushing. And you have to. If I didn't do that special, I did that special, okay? There hadn't been a woman do an hour, none in all those years. I do the hour. I found, so here's how it's sold. You have to know that part. My boyfriend looks at me and I said, I told you they hated me. He said, I always thought you were crazy, taking it personally. But you're right. If they turn down Cosby and Letterman and Dr. Ruth, they hate you. What do you want to do? I said, well, everybody worked for free. I want to pay everyone. I'm going to do the round one more time this year, go back in the same level. I want to pay everybody off and we're out of here. He said, okay, I'll teach filmmaking in San Francisco or New York or something. Okay, about 10 months goes by. I have the Duddy Kravitz bar mitzvah film on my, boy, that's dated. That dates me, on my living room shelf in a very expensive home movie. And what happens? He calls me up from lunch. He said, hey, there are all new guys at Showtime. And I always said, one day hipper, younger guys will come in and they'll be like us, the new generation of women are fine. So they came in, Peter Chernin, as a matter of fact, and Alan Sabinson. He took that up there. It sold in -2 seconds. They gave me a multi-million-dollar deal for 4 more. Wow. And I went from nothing to everything.
Oh my goodness.
And here's the best part. The New York Times reviewed it the night it, played on Showtime for the first time. And it was the review you would have written yourself, all you were trying to say to them, which was, the writer said, where has this been? A normal woman standing on stage, not flaying herself for our amusement.
That's all you need right there.
Wow.
Where did you record that special?
A month later, HBO created Women of the Night and gave every woman in the world a TV show. It was 4 women every Friday night. Each one got 15 minutes for the hour, but they had to name it Women of the Night. It still had to be hookers because they couldn't just women, right?
Where did you record that first special?
Well, I put I have a box set out, which is really great. It's 4 amazing specials and a brand new CD of new material called the 50/50 Club. But the first one, I like to say, was done at the Shoes and Socks Lounge in downtown Tomatoville, which was a Tom Waits line. But it was the Bottom Line in New York. Bottom Line in New York. I miss that club, boy. And that club, there were 2 guys. There you go. You find a couple of champions and you get your career. 2 guys who owned the Bottom Line in New York in the 70s. They loved me. Now, the biggest stars in the world played there. Dolly Parton and Tom Waits and Kenny Rankin. Alan made every single one of them let me open for them. It was $50, but I opened for every one of those stars. Half of them took me on the road after that, after fighting them tooth and nail. We don't want her. We don't know who she is. We don't want some women comic on stage. No. every night I went and opened for somebody and they all took me on the road. That's how, it was good. So those two guys really, the bottom line in New York, Alan and Stanley, just helped with the career. And you didn't know, no one ever opened a magazine or a newspaper and saw me crying, I mean, oh, it's so hard. No, it's nobody's business, Yeah, it sure is hard. Nobody's business. Do your job.
I don't know what the percentage is, but I also, you developed a confidence over your almost 50 years, but I've often said that 50% of your ability to make people like you on stage is your personality. It's the stage business. It's your confidence. It's how you conduct yourself. And as an example, not that you're in any way, you're such a skilled comedian, but I look at Arsenio Hall and I try to figure out what it was about him that made him so popular. And I would say that over 50% of it was just his personality. It was his confidence on stage. It was this big smile. And yes, his jokes were funny, but that really wasn't the important part. You know what I mean? He had this charisma.
Likability.
Yes, it was a likability and a charisma.
And a genuine appreciation for, genuine, not fawning, but genuine.
No.
He had me on 100 times. I did that show 100 times.
Wow.
And then I go out and play theaters, and half the theater was black people, and the owner would say, we never had this many black people in here before. I go, isn't that nice that people are discovering your venue? Now you should book more acts that appeal to everyone.
Yes.
It was great. For years, I'd go on stage and walk out and hear, whoa, whoa, because Arsenio opened up a whole part of the world to me that no one else had opened up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You can't fake likability. I'm telling you, there are comedians that are so successful, the top of the field in America. People don't like them. They go to see them. They think they're funny. They don't like them. And I hear this all, hey, we saw so-and-so. Yeah, he's probably not really a nice guy, is he? No, he's not. But they laugh and they like them, but they know they love you or they don't.
No, I think that's that might be over 50% of someone's appeal.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
Now,
but they're not going to laugh just because they like you. I mean, I remember I said to, Ed Bluestone, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I keep mentioning him. He was from my day and he was a brilliant writer and comedian. And I said one day to him, I said, so-and-so is such a nice guy. And he said, he has to be. He has no act.
Well, that's the other way to look at it.
There's a lot of that too.
Yeah. But it's not going to get you through alone. And if you're a meanie, if the act's great, you'll work. But
40 minutes in, your smile's not going to do it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead, Louise.
Oh,
sorry.
I want to, if you have something more to share, please do. But I wanted, before we wrap things up, I want to talk about your love, Tales of Joy.
Thank you. That is what I was going to say. It's our 20th anniversary of Animal Rescue. We're at Tails, Tails, talesofjoy.net. We're not hands-on. In my travels over 48 years, I visited 1 million rescues, and most of them are small mom and mom. Men don't do as much rescue as women, but just these tiny little places all across the country that they put their own money in to save animals, because we kill 3 to 5 million dogs and cats a year that are adoptable. There's just too many, and they get killed in the pounds. And so I decided I'm going to help all the little rescue organizations, all the local ones that don't have the infrastructure to raise their own money. So we give out, tens, if not hundreds of thousands a year, over 20 years. I don't know how much money. And we help the smallest, neediest rescue groups.
And it's not just dogs and cats. You do praying mantises, anything that needs rescuing.
Sheldrick wildlife for fighting poachers in India and Kenya and Africa and, cats in Israel. And a lot of dogs. There's a great organization that bring in all the injured dogs from Lebanon to Canada. I've never seen a dog with 4 legs come in the last 5 years.
Wow.
It's a horrible life. And we pay for the vets, we pay for the flights, we pay for the pull fees, we buy the food. We'll have an organization say, oh my God, our donations are off and we don't have food for 50 dogs in our kennels this month. And we'll send, go to Amazon or Chewy and, Walmart and send, 6 months worth of food. This pandemic was amazing. We put up, if you can feed your animals, don't give them up. We'll take care of you. And I spent 6 months sitting at that kitchen table, sending thousands of pounds of food and medicine across this country to every state, every day. I'd say, send me a picture. I'd see the pit bulls. I'd see the cats. This lady writes to me from the middle of the country and she says, we love our rabbit, but I'm going to have to sell her. And I don't want to sell her around here because I know around here they're going to eat her. And I write back, don't eat the bunny, don't eat the bunny. And I send so much food and bunny stuff that she writes back to me and says, my daughter was here when the packages came. She couldn't believe it. She said to me, Mom, that lady must really like rabbits. And I said, no, I just don't want you to eat the bunny. And I said, you have to send me a picture every month with that bunny on today's paper. I want to make sure that bunny doesn't get eaten. So every month I get a picture of the bunny. But we did. We kept people's pets in their homes for the pandemic. Vet visits, food, medicine, nail cuttings, we called the vets, spay, neuter. We took care. Individuals, which you don't usually do that much, and kept people happy. And, we would send 6 months worth of food because you got to take the pressure off. It's not.
Yeah, I had not thought of how this was affecting pet owners. And
I always say keeping a pet in a home is as good as putting a pet in a home. So if you have your listeners, I'd like to say Amazon has a charity and you can pick a charity you like. And every time you shop, they give us a piece of your shopping at no cost to you. So if you start and bookmark it, smile.amazon.com, smile.amazon.com, you start there every time you shop. All you have to do is choose us once, Tales of Joy Studio City, because there are other Tales of Joys. Okay. Tales of Joy Studio City, bookmark, smile.amazon.com. Every time you shop, they give us a piece. We don't know what you bought. It's totally private. And it helps a lot. I mean, every quarter we get a few extra dollars from that. And if you live in LA, you can sign up as we can be your charity at Ralph's supermarkets. We get even more from Ralph's than we get from Amazon. You just link your Ralph's card to Tales of Joy, and you'll see it at the bottom of your receipt. Every time you shop, they give us a piece of your shopping. Unfortunately, not liquor, or we'd be rich, but groceries.
Sure. So when do you picture and how do you picture yourself being comfortable enough to get back on stage?
Oh, I don't know. I really am at a loss. I wish I could be funny and entertaining about it, but I just don't see myself leaving the house yet. It's such a freak out, you know? Yeah. I made a breakfast date with good friends. And a half an hour before I said, I'm not coming. And my husband went, but I didn't go. I couldn't go. So I don't know. It's really PTSD, I think.
Right. And I bet you are among many. So
They say it's a thing. I think my husband's going to start putting pizzas at the end of the driveway, like a little further away every day, then down the street, then on the corner. That may help. I don't know.
I think that would help.
I hope so. Boy, it was so great to see you, Fritz. I miss you every night. And it was so great to meet you, Louise.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You're a delight. And I'm so appreciative.
You're really humble and positive about your start. But you represented, I think, the break. Again, I have to divide in male and female just because that's what we're talking about here. The breakthrough lady comic at the beginning of that tsunami that happened in the mid-'70s through the '80s until it tapered off in the '90s. You were the person, and you are funny and personable, and I'm so glad we had a chance to talk with you today. Thanks for coming on.
It was the special opening the door for that other series because they saw that people did indeed want to see women.
Yes.
And here's the simplest summation of it in one sentence. I was playing San Francisco in the 70s. No one had really seen much women comedians. I did a whole show. There was a very, very old man with his wife in the audience. I made a joke about women working. He yelled out, "No." I said, "What? No." He said, "Women shouldn't work." Here's how simple it was. I said, "Well, who would you have come to see tonight?" That's all it is. Here we are. Don't freak out.
All right, here come our closing credits. We would love for you to join us online on Instagram and Twitter, where we are at MediaPathPod, and on Facebook, where we are MediaPath Podcast. You can find full episodes with all kinds of bonus visual content on our YouTube channel, MediaPath Podcast. We would love to know what media you've been enjoying. You can contact us at our social media or email us at mediapathpodcast@gmail.com. I want to thank our guest, Elayne Boosler. We've got her social medias right here, and you can also find them in our show notes. Our team includes Dina Friedman, Francesco Demanda, John Maddox, Sharon Bellio, Bill Filipiak, Thomas Hubble, and you. Our theme music is by me and John Maddox. I am Louise Palanker here with Fritz Coleman, and we will see you along the Media Path. And Fritz has more to tell you.
And if you enjoyed this episode of Media Path, it would help us to be more discoverable by potential new listeners if you leave us a quick review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're new here and this is your first time with us, please check out our back catalog. You may even find us binge-worthy. Recent episodes include great musical memories with Gary Puckett and the Cowsills and all kinds of wonderful people, Keith Morrison and all kinds of Josh Mankiewicz. Going back to the very beginning, you'll hear Henry Winkler and other great stars. Thank you for spending an hour with us, and we would be overjoyed if you took a moment to share your thoughts with us or recommend us to a friend. Stay safe.